This video is about why you can't detach.
The law of detachment will change your entire life.
I want to know the best way to detach from someone that really hurt you.
Best way to get a man to fall in love is to become emotionally detached.
Set your intentions to whatever it is that you want, and then you completely detach from them.
The law of detachment is everywhere right now, from manifestation tips to relationship advice and how-tos on how to step into your feminine energy. Everyone's telling you to detach from the outcome, but nobody's talking about why it's so hard. Detachment's hard because your ego's convinced you that you're in control. I'll explain. The control trap is an ego trap that you can get stuck in that makes you feel and act as if you need to control every single detail. It plants beliefs like, I'm not capable enough to handle uncertainty. I'm not valuable unless I'm in control. I'm not good enough if things don't go as planned. Or the overarching, I'm not whole enough unless I have complete control over my life. And these beliefs morph into thought patterns. But why does your ego do that? Because it's like that overprotective childhood friend. You know which one I'm talking about. That one that thinks they know what's best for you just because they've known you for a long time. Your ego loves predictability. It thinks that if it can keep you in your comfort zone, then you'll be safe. But the problem is safe doesn't always mean fulfilled, and it definitely doesn't mean growth. And the control trap is sneaky because it convinces you that these thoughts and actions are protecting you. But it's just that same old friend trying to keep you in a version of yourself that you've outgrown. And one of the biggest signs you're stuck in this trap? Rumination. When you're ruminating, or as I like to call it, doom spiraling, you're overthinking, replaying those uncomfortable moments in your head over and over again. You cannot stop thinking about what you could have said differently, what you could have done to fix it, what they could have done better. And you know a movie that portrays rumination to the T? Inception, where the main character Cobb, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, keeps revisiting old memories with his late wife, Mal, desperately trying to rewrite the past. But even though it temporarily soothes him, it doesn't really give him closure. Instead, it traps him in his own mind, like a self-made prison, where Mal just keeps popping up, sabotaging things, even outside of Cobb's control. And he's so relatable because we think that if we can replay our thoughts, we can control the narrative and find peace. But really, we're just digging ourselves deeper and deeper into that emotional loop. Rumination feels like you're doing something, but it's really just an illusion. And then you can't detach because your mind tricks you that by replaying the situation over and over again, you're making progress. But it's really just tying you to the past, trying to control an outcome that's already happened. Rumination and overthinking is a pretty common thing, but it's just one identifier that you're stuck in the control ego trap. When we really get aware of this ego trap, we can start to see how it shows up in how we interact with other people. Let's look at the proposal. Margaret Tate, she's a powerhouse. She's in control of every project, every person around her, and her entire career. And while it's gotten her far, it eventually leads to her downfall. Desperate to maintain that control, she manipulates her assistant Andrew into a fake marriage by holding his unpublished manuscript hostage.
We're getting married.
Isn't he your secretary?
Wouldn't be the first time one of us fell for our secretaries, would it, Edwin? With LaQuisha, remember?
But Andrew's not innocent. He goes along with it, letting Margaret dictate his life. Why? Because he's kind of in his own control trap. He consistently avoids confrontation, allowing her to trash his dreams, which is another layer of control. Kind of a shadow side of it, but it's one that looks like submission, but it's still rooted in that fear of uncertainty, as he refuses to take control over the one thing he can control, himself. So when they eventually fall in love, that sounds crazy, this dynamic flips on its head and it starts to play out romantically. And I just want to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, me. If you like the way I explain things I've been learning through movies, come and join me on Patreon. I'll be sharing uncut deep dives of my movies with a message series before the final cut comes on YouTube. I'll also have polls, journal prompts, and private chats where we can all work through this stuff together. And it's the best way to support what I'm doing here. So if you like that, it's a 7-day free trial. So if you find yourself consistently in situations like Margaret or Andrew, or you find yourself taking responsibility for grown people's choices, or maybe breaking your back so people don't feel the negative consequences of their own actions, or you find yourself trying to be the consequences of other people's actions, your ego might be running the show. So next time your ego's driving you to control something, remember that it's masking something deeper. Throughout their fake engagement, Andrew's loving family cracks Margaret's egoic haze, and she remembers what it's like to be close to people, which then causes her to realize that she can't have Andrew disappoint everyone he loves with a fake marriage. Margaret then leaves Andrew at the altar and promises to publish his book anyway. And while it gave her a sense of security, it also prevented her from being vulnerable.
There's a reason why I've been alone all this time. I'm comfortable that way. And I think it would just be a lot easier if we forgot everything that happened and I just left.
Which kind of sucks because, like we talked about in my Inside Out video, vulnerability is what brings people to you. And Andrew, he's faced with a choice to either let her go and stick to his passive form of control, or risk vulnerability and go after her.
You're right. That would be easier.
I'm scared.
Me too.
At the end of the day, we all want to be seen, understood, and loved. But the unknown of what vulnerability might bring us drive us to try to control the narrative, which makes it almost impossible to detach. Being afraid of being vulnerable also makes us resistant to change. So we hold on tight to our routines, unfulfilling jobs, and even toxic relationships just because they feel familiar. But that's a form of control too. I just watched Bridget Jones' diary for the first time. I know, sue me. But Bridget wrote in her journal an entire list of things she was going to change. She was gonna stop smoking, get fit, avoid shitty men. But the familiar was so much more comfortable to her until it wasn't. And that same type of man she said she was going to stay away from flips her life upside down. And then that's when she finally takes action and starts doing all the things she said she was going to do. So sometimes it's the things that we're holding on to the tightest that keep us from getting what we really want. And what we can learn from Bridget Jones is that sometimes embracing that discomfort head on is better than being forced into it. And that can be the first step to detachment. So in all these scenarios, we're always brought right back to the ego. Your ego tells you you need to hold on to these things to feel like you're whole, to feel like you're enough. But in holding on and in chasing that control, you give away your power. And you have to break free from this ego-driven mindset in order to reclaim that power. Don't believe me? Think about how many experiences you've had where something doesn't go your way, but it ends up being exactly what you needed. Can't think of one? Well, let's look at Anne Hathaway's character Jules from the movie The Intern. She can't delegate because she doesn't trust anyone to do it the way she would. Jules has her hands in everything. She takes on every burden and responsibility, even though she's got a capable team. But it's burning her out. She's forgetting things. She's late for deadlines. Her calendar's booked solid. And as her business grows, it's just way too much. So when her investors want her to bring in a CEO to help her run her company, it challenges her need for control. She's assigned a senior intern, literally. He's got 40 plus years of experience, and even though she's skeptical at first, he's exactly what she needs. He slowly shows her that it's okay to trust others, or at the very least be okay if they mess it all up, which is great advice for when you first start to confront this ego trap. You're struggling to detach because you think it means giving up, losing power, or even losing yourself. But detachment isn't about letting go of you. It's about loosening your grip on everything outside of you so you can reclaim yourself. Detachment gets easier when you feel that stress and you can slow down and ask yourself, which part of me right now is scrambling for control? Is it fear-based, and how can I realign with what matters? For me personally, this control trap has been eating me up like my whole life. But identifying them for me has been the biggest step forward. So if it's your first time here, you can hear about the other ego traps here, or watch my movie breakdown on Eat, Pray, Love on how to quiet your ego. And I'm sending love and healing your way. Bye. Say long time no see. This is Cairo, and he loves the camera. This is Cleo. She doesn't like the camera. Not a fan of the camera, but she's here for now.